Hi, and welcome to Healthy Kingston, a health promotion and wellness program of the Kingston Board of Health. I'm Janet Wade, your host. Well, the summer is upon us, and as we all know, it has been extremely hot. I'm going to go over a few health measures that we all should keep in mind. We all know, but they certainly bear repeating this time of the year. Mentioned the heat. Heat exhaustion. We've all had it. We're experiencing it on a daily basis here living in the Kingston, Plymouth, Halifax, Carver area, Duxbury area, with the heat and humidity that we've had the last few weeks. It's important when you are feeling tired, run down, you're sweating, you're thirsty, that you get out of the heat. This is heat exhaustion. It typically happens when we may just be taking a walk, going to the grocery store, anything usual that we're outside. Just hydrate, 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 and get into a cool area. But what is more serious is heat stroke. Heat stroke happens typically when we're very active, possibly in the middle of the day. You might be mowing your lawn, playing tennis. You can actually get to the point, and it's very scary because I've seen people who've been suffering from heat stroke where they actually become disoriented, their faces are flushed, their skin is dry, they may have a temperature of 104 degrees or above. This can be tremendously serious. This person has to be brought into a cool area right away, cold compresses put on them. If they can drink, get them to drink. If not, they may have to go to the hospital and have intravenous fluids to rehydrate themselves. So if you get to the point where you're outside and you're feeling very uncomfortable and possibly getting disoriented, flushed face, not even sweating anymore, it's very, very important that you get inside because you don't want to suffer heat stroke. Mosquitoes. We're all dealing with them this time of the year. Very important that when you do go outside, particularly early morning, later in the afternoon, when the mosquitoes tend to be around, that you use spray, insect repellent with DEET. Also on your property, keeping your property up, mowing grass, and in particular, getting rid of any standing water that is on your property that will attract mosquitoes. Very, very important. Ticks. We're all hearing about ticks, and Massachusetts certainly has their share this time of the year and into the fall and even the winter. According to the Centers for Disease Control, it's important that when we go outside this time of the year, walking around cranberry bogs, walking in the woods, in tall grasses, that you protect yourself. Long-sleeved clothing, long pants, tuck pants into your shoes or boots. Use EPA-approved insect repellents. Buy clothing that possibly has, it's called permathin. You can spray it on your clothes and then let them dry. Don't spray it on your clothes while you have them on you. But you can buy clothes that have this embedded in the fabric, or actually buy the spray and spray it on your clothes and let them dry. When you come in from being outside, certainly check your clothing for ticks, remove your clothing, and check for ticks on your body or other family members, particularly children, when they come in from outside. And that's everything from the scalp, the hairline, under your arms, belly button, between your legs, moist areas where ticks tend to gravitate. To remove a tick, it's important that you get the type of tweezers that have the sharp tip at the end to remove the tick immediately. If you remove the tick within 24 hours, the likelihood of you acquiring Lyme disease is very, very minimal. However, if you start to become feverish and tired, it would be important that you, and flushed and develop any kind of a rash on your body. These might be indications of Lyme disease, and it would be important that you be evaluated. So to go to your primary care physician and make sure that you are checked out. Last but not least is water safety. Drownings are a reality in our area and throughout Massachusetts, be they in the ocean, be they in backyard pools, in ponds, in rivers. So we can enjoy the water, but we need to be very cautious around it. Obviously, try not to swim alone. Always swim with a partner if you can, for adults. For children, they should always be supervised. And it would be important if you're supervising children, if you know if they can swim and if they can't, to make sure that they have some type of a flotation device on them so they're not in a precarious position being in water. If you're around a pool, to make sure that you have a ring or a bar that you can pass out to people in the event that there's a potential drowning going on or they're having difficulty swimming, rather than you jumping in after them. It would be important that you throw these things to them or extend them the pole and pull them into the sides of the pool. In the ocean, riptides are becoming an issue. We haven't necessarily had any along our coast. Recently, they've certainly been further on down the eastern coast and in Florida and along the southern coastlines. Nonetheless, if you're feeling any kind of a heavy current, it's important that you be aware of where you are in relation to where your items are on the beach. And if you see yourself starting to float further on down the beach, bring yourself back up. Also, swim. If you feel like you're being carried away, swim parallel to the beach rather than swimming out. Swim parallel. And the most important thing is be aware of where you're located so that you realize if you're getting swept out. And certainly keep an eye on children to make sure that they are not being taken out with the tide. Next, I would like to introduce a subject that I think is so important in our community these days, and that is housing insecurity. And fortunately, we have a nonprofit program in our area that addresses this in a wonderful way, Habitat for Humanity, which builds strength, stability, and self-reliance through shelter. I'm very happy to introduce Amy Belmore, who is the Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity in our area. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
More than welcome. What is your jurisdiction?
Sure. Yeah, our area includes 6 towns, and the largest being Plymouth, and we also serve Carver, Kingston, Middleborough, Plimpton, and Lakeville. Okay. So that's where we provide our affordable home builds. That's where we do our work, as well as our critical repair program.
Okay. And I mentioned your mission statement. What is your vision looking at Habitat?
Our vision, really, if we get right down to it, it's to make sure that everyone has a decent place to live. Right? That's our aim. That's our goal. It's a gigantic undertaking, and it seems nearly impossible, of course. But here in Massachusetts, we all know that we have such a giant void of affordable housing options, truly affordable housing for low-income families. And so we're always working toward trying to ensure that we can provide a decent place to live to as many people as we can.
And with that in mind, I know people would be anxious to hear about how do you even get involved in this process? How do you apply?
Sure. We open up our application window when we know that we are ready to go with a new home build or a renovation. And so when we have a piece of land that we have secured, we have acquired it, and we know that it is permit ready and we're ready to move ahead, we will open an application window for income qualified households, and that is a key component. We are building for income qualified populations, and very specifically, Habitat for Humanity focuses on people who are making 60% of the area median income, and that is a lower served population than other affordable homes. The affordable home threshold in Massachusetts and elsewhere is typically 80%. You're eligible if you make 80% of the area median income. And Habitat focuses on a lower served population making a little bit or 20% less. At 60%. And so once we open the application window, it starts with the paper application. There is an interview. We have criteria such that people not only have to be income qualified, but they have to agree to our sweat equity program, which means that they're putting many hours into helping to build their own home alongside our volunteers. And we also look at whether or not their current living conditions are, if they're overcrowded or they're unsafe, or they're already paying more than 50% of their income on housing where they are right at the moment. Mm-hmm. We look at those criteria as well. And then ultimately, the people who are qualified end up in a lottery. And so it's a lottery.
Okay, I wondered, because how do you choose? I mean, that's got to be difficult.
Yep.
If everybody meets the criteria that you're looking at.
Right. So they all go into the last one we did was in a construction bucket. I would say a hat, but it was right in a construction bucket, and we pulled that lucky name out of that lottery. But of course, everybody has such difficult circumstances that they're living in, and so it is hard. It's exciting to identify the family for that upcoming build, but it's difficult because there are so many people who weren't selected.
Sure.
And they have to go back to the grind of trying to find something that is going to suit their family.
So, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. What is the average? I have no doubt there are lots of parameters that change this, but what's the average amount of time it takes from application to being chosen to actually having the house completed and move-in ready?
Yeah, it does vary. It really varies based on whether we're doing a brand new home build, putting the foundation in the ground, which is the most, that's what we've done most frequently. We have also done and are currently finishing a project that started with an existing structure. We renovated it entirely, put on an addition, so it went from a very small cottage, completely unfinished down to the studs, to now a 3-bedroom home with a 2-story addition on the back. And then our upcoming build will also be a renovation of an existing structure. So, in terms of from the time when the application opens up to the time when they might move in, it could be upwards of a year. It might be less than that. It really depends.
Really depends.
Yeah, and it also depends on, believe it or not, weather. It depends on how many volunteers are showing up.
Right.
The fact that Habitat uses volunteers, unskilled volunteers, for the majority of our construction is very unique to Habitat for Humanity around the country and around the world. And it doesn't move at the same pace as a professional construction site would.
Sure. Let's speak to that since you brought it up. So you have a paid staff member.
Yes.
Experienced in contracting.
We do.
Who oversees the project.
We do.
Otherwise, it's volunteers who are doing the work.
Almost entirely. We bring in skilled professionals, some who discount or offer their services pro bono for things like plumbing and electric and roofing and septic, some of those licensed type skill sets that really need to be done by professionals. But the rest of construction, from everything from framing to sheetrocking to painting, trim work, all of that cabinetry, all of that type of work is done by volunteers. And they come from all walks of life, different age groups, different professional backgrounds. And some of them bring maybe experience doing their own projects in their own homes, or maybe they had a gig on the side at one point in their lives, but many do not have construction skill. And so we have a licensed construction supervisor who oversees all of our projects, and he has a tremendous level of not only technical knowledge, obviously. Back in his prior life, he had built hundreds of homes as well, but he brings that ability to teach unskilled volunteers, which is a very unique opportunity. It's such rewarding work. It's rewarding for everybody.
Well, it has to be.
Yeah, everybody who comes loves it.
Right, and the family who will be receiving the house has to participate in helping to build the house as well.
They do, yeah. We call it sweat equity in the Habitat world, and each adult in the home is required to put in 250 hours of sweat equity. That's a lot of time.
It is.
And they can do that. The majority is done helping to build their own home. They can also put in hours at our Restore, which I know we'll talk about later. That's a social enterprise retail operation that we have. We also have ways to help with fundraising or public relations or in the office, things of that nature. And then, of course, if there is ever a situation where the homeowner does have a disability such that they can't perform the physical work, then we would come up with another list of activities. But the requirement would still be there to put in the sweat equity.
Okay. And I know I had seen it on the website, which is very extensive, how to volunteer.
Yeah. Basically, you just let us know that you're interested in volunteering. We have a wonderful volunteer manager. Her name is Lynn, and she will reach back out to you and, get a sense of what you're interested in doing. If you're interested in construction work, if you're interested, we have a slew of opportunities outside of construction work as well. Fundraising, public relations. We have family selection. We have volunteers that are involved with ensuring that all those applicants are indeed qualified. They have to go through that material. Those are volunteers that do that work.
Okay.
We have another committee called our Family Support Committee that once the homeowners are selected, they sort of pick it up from there and make sure they're comfortable through the building process and even in a year or two beyond to make sure that they are receiving financial literacy education. So our homeowners go through a first-time homebuyers course.
Really?
Yes. As well
tremendous.
as we offer a number of smart money modules that just help these first-time homebuyers understand, saving, credit repair, all sorts of, financial literacy that helps support a household. And so that Family Support Committee will help them through that process as well.
That's tremendous, and they can maintain the house.
Exactly.
Keep the house in their purview. That's great. You mentioned the Restore. If you could speak to that.
Sure.
Please.
Yes, our Restore it's over in Carver. It's on Route 58, right on the Plimpton-Carver line, and we accept donated furniture and appliances, cabinetry, lighting, building materials, and so forth. All gently used items that will be donated by individuals and businesses from throughout the community. And these donations come from a wider geographic swath than where we do our building work. And we offer free pickup service in our truck if that's needed. And those items all get sold to the public. It's open to the public for very deep discount. You can get incredible deals at the Restore. And the proceeds all go to support the mission of Habitat. Okay. So,
and that's in Carver.
That's in Carver.
And your office is in Carver.
Yeah, our offices are tucked right in alongside the actual the Restore floor.
Okay.
And so, not only is it providing the public service of making, greatly reduced items that are perfectly usable, definitely have second life left in them. We're selective in what we take. We don't take everything. We make sure that it is saleable and, no tears or stains or things of that nature. We want to make sure it's high quality product. And that's available to the public. And we are also, very importantly, keeping that out of the landfill. So just reducing that environmental footprint.
Excellent point.
And those proceeds really are what allow us to build truly affordable homes. And when we talk about affordability in our scope, the Habitat home that we're building right now, just by way of example, it's a 3-bedroom home that this family happens to be a Navy veteran working in a local public school as a custodian. Mom is raising her 2 beautiful young girls, and they'll be moving in. We close on that home. By the time the show airs, they'll probably be closed.
Oh, that's exciting.
And very exciting. And all in, between their mortgage, property tax, and insurance, they'll start off at roughly $1,000 for a 3-bedroom home that they will own.
Wow,
So
that's
that
tremendous.
is truly affordable.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's wonderful. And the towns that you
Per
work
month, I
with
should
in-
say. That was a per month figure.
Per month. Okay, got it.
But still, when you're looking at rentals around here,
Oh,
a 3-bedroom rental around here is easily $2,500 a month.
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's a transformative opportunity for a family that really
It's
just
got to
allows
be.
them to put so much more of, the effects of Habitat housing lead to better health and better nutrition and better education and academic success and employment
Yeah, I'd
success.
like to dig a little deeper in that because we talked about that earlier. Yes, the fact that there have been innumerable studies out there that I know the ones I've I mentioned I've been reading were about children who, growing up with housing insecurity, developing physical and emotional problems well into adolescence.
Right.
Can you speak any further to
Yeah,
this?
exactly. Well, there have been a lot of studies and data out there that proves that having that stability, not bouncing from one home to another or into shelter or into a car, having that housing stability really does improve a child's development, certainly improves their academic or their learning potential because of that improved development and therefore their academic success, their relationship building with their own family internally as well as with friends. And that, of course, leads to improved mental health.
Sure.
So the stresses that come with housing insecurity, as you mentioned, affect children, affect adults. We often see with adults too that they stay in their jobs longer. They're not bouncing from job to job, which leads to, economic growth for their family because they're able to move up the ladder if they're staying in one job for a longer period of time. So housing security just has so many positive effects.
Oh, yeah.
In so many areas of life. And then you carry that forward to future generations, right?
Absolutely.
So for those children who grow up in a stable home, that experience will be so different when they become adults and start raising their own family. We're breaking that cycle of poverty, right?
Exactly.
And it's very rewarding. That's why
It's got to
volunteers
be.
want to do the work that they're doing. Yeah.
To be.
Yeah.
Well, that's a perfect way to end. Again, thank you so much for your service to this community.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's absolutely tremendous, so much to be terribly rewarding. And I'd love to be there when the family walks into the house for the first time and it's complete.
I know, it's
going to
amazing.
be exciting. And those of you out there who would like to volunteer, again, the website will be on the screen. Feel free. If you have an expertise, wonderful. If you don't, it's okay.
Yes.
You will be taught. And again, it's just a wonderful resource for our community. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for
Appreciate
the
it.
opportunity to share. I really appreciate it, Janet.
Absolutely.